Long after the day the sea chose Moana, long after she restored the heart of Te Fiti and sailed beyond the reef, there came a time when the mighty Maui found himself, well, a little bit bored. You see, demigods don't get invited to luau's very often, at least not since Maui's legendary exploits started to fade into myth. No feasts, no fire dancing competitions, just endless blue ocean, glorious sun, and his own echoing voice. Not that Maui really minded the solitude. Most days, he'd practice throwing his magical hook, try out new shape-shifting forms, or admire his sparkling tattoos. He would puff out his chest, grin at the sky, and remind absolutely no one, "You're welcome." Still, as weeks slipped by and new fissures crossed the blue horizon, even Maui's own company started to seem a bit familiar. The world had moved on, he supposed, from needing his help. One muggy afternoon, after transforming into an enormous hawk to chase after a shimmering school of flying fish, Maui landed atop a rocky islet not far from Motunui. The view was, as always, spectacular. Endless waves, clouds drifting lazily as if painted on the sky, and dozens of tiny islands scattered like shells. But even paradise, he had to admit, could feel a bit quiet. As Maui preened his feathers, planning how he might tattoo a sea serpent on his left bicep for fun, he caught a strange glimmer from below. At first, he thought it was a trick of the sunlight. Sometimes the sea played those games, especially with bored demigods. But then he heard something odd, a laugh, broad and hearty, echoing across the rocks. Not his laugh, someone else's. Now, that didn't happen very often. Maui swooped down and landed, shifting back into his own famous, larger-than-life self, muscles bulging, hair wild, smile ready. He planted his magical fishhook in the sand, looked around and called out, "All right, genius at large here. Who dares steal my thunder?" There was a startled silence, then a head poked out from behind a boulder. To Maui's surprise, it wasn't Moana, or a meddling royal, or even a legendary monster. It was a stranger, sturdy as a coconut tree, cloak patched with shells, and eyes bright as morning sun. The newcomer stepped forward, holding a woven basket brimming with seaweed and brightly colored shellfish. Maui crossed his arms. "Name's Maui, hero to all. Got a problem that requires immense strength, daring, or some top-tier singing." The stranger's eyes widened. The Maui? From the stories? The words came out delighted, incredulous. Maui grinned. "The one and only." The stranger laughed, a sound as big as the sea. "Well, Maui, I've got only one problem, and that's lunch. Care to join?" For just a split second, Maui looked uncertain. He had expected awe, maybe fear or a challenge. But an invitation to share shellfish? That was new.
Still, a feast was a feast.
"Sure," he said, as if he'd meant to all along, and sat beside the newcomer. As the sun climbed higher, the two cooked shellfish over a crackling fire. The stranger introduced himself as Tua, a traveler from a distant archipelago who'd sailed the seas looking for new islands. Maui roasted a crab with sparks from his hook, because being a demigod is handy when it comes to lighting fires, and boasted about pulling up islands in his younger days. They swapped tales as islanders do. Tua recounted how he'd once outwitted a giant eel by teaching it to play riddles. Maui trumped him with his legendary exploits, slowing down the sun, fishing up islands, battling lava monsters. Tua listened, but he did not frown, nor did he boast that he'd done the same, but instead laughed and applauded each tale. It wasn't lost on Maui. Usually, tales of his greatness made people anxious or irreverent. But Tua's laughter was genuine, warm, and, if Maui was being honest, infectious. After the meal, Tua invited Maui to visit his canoe anchored nearby. Bet you've never seen a double-hulled canoe with a rotating mast, he grinned, pulling back a palm frond cover to reveal a seaworthy craft. Maui snorted, but inspected the boat nonetheless. It was clever, strong, simple, and elegant, with designs unlike anything he'd seen.